The next stage of human evolution is podcasting. It's Harmless Phosphorescence. Hello, everyone. This is Wheels. And who do I have with me this week?
I'm Josh CC, and man always fears what he doesn't understand. For me, it's Sudoku.
I'm Brian Lesh, dressed in my best black leather jumpsuit.
I'm Alaric Weber, and I'd prefer the yellow spandex.
And this is Harmless Phosphorescence. That was good. The podcast.
Yeah, me.
In which every week we watch every theatrically released full-length live-action superhero movie ever made. We gather some research into the production and the source material, then we tell you all about it. This week we are watching X-Men.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now seeing the beginnings of another stage of human evolution.
The truth is that mutants are very real, and they are among us. We must know who they are, and above all, what they can do.
We're not what you think, not all of us.
Who are you people?
What kind of place is this?
I'm Professor Charles Xavier.
I built this school where mutants could learn to focus their powers in a positive way, and also learn that mankind was not evil, just uninformed. You'll be safe here from Magneto, a very powerful mutant who believes that a war is brewing between mutants and the rest of humanity.
There is a war coming. Be sure you're on the right side.
I've never seen anything like this before.
We are the future, Charles, not them. They no longer matter.
Hold on to something.
Don't give up on them. Mankind has evolved, not anymore.
X-Men, released July 12th, 2000 on Ellis Island, and July 14th, 2000 to the rest of the United States. They had the premiere on Ellis Island on July 12th. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Weird. With the running time of 104 minutes, it cost $75 million and took in $296.3 million in the box office. Bonafide hit.
Yeah.
And that, of course, brings us to the box office top 10 of the week. Every week we take a look at the when the movie opened. Our boys here try to guess at what position it opened at in the top 10, and then we go through and they guess every movie by the tagline. So where do you folks think it opened that week? The week of July 14th, 2000.
Number one.
Number one, yeah.
Number one.
It was number one. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were there.
Well, and 296 million, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly. So we'll go ahead. We'll go through the other 9 movies here, and we'll see if you guys can guess the movie by the by the box office mojo tagline. A retired master car thief must come back to the industry and steal 50 cars with his crew in one night to save his brother's life.
The one about the Declaration of Independence.
Isn't that a Fast and Furious movie?
No, Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah,
Gone in
Nick
60
Cage.
Seconds.
Yeah. Gone in 60
I
Seconds.
still have never seen this movie either. Never seen it.
Of course.
I saw like half of it.
So 30 seconds.
Yeah, I saw 30 seconds of it. Yeah. No, the one about the Declaration of Independence was Gone in 241 years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's a big difference in time.
Yeah.
I mean, that your time frame is arguable, but at this point, it's confirmed.
At number 9, in order to protect a beautiful woman and her son from a robber, a male FBI agent disguises himself as a large grandmother.
Okay.
Blue
Big Mama's house?
Big Mama's
Yes,
house.
Al got it.
Yes.
From a robber.
From a robber.
How low stakes can you get?
Right.
Like Peeping Tom is next.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Not a terrorist, not a psycho.
Yeah, it wasn't like the
Like,
mob
just
is
give him
after
the
her.
TV and I'll leave.
Right. Yeah, I can't believe it wasn't like the mafia or something. She was like an informant. It was like a witness protection thing. Nope, just a robber.
Just a robber.
He stole the TV, man.
He was easy to
He
find.
might come back.
Yeah, it was easy to find because he was wearing a striped shirt and a mask with a big bag with a money sign on it.
Yeah. Textbook.
Fucking Hamburglar, man, at it again.
Yeah.
The Hamburglar.
At number 8, a nice guy cop with dissociative identity disorder must protect a woman on the run from a corrupt ex-boyfriend.
Me, myself, and Irene.
Yeah, a lot of cops
Holy
protecting
shit.
people.
That tagline, yeah, huh?
Uh-huh.
The tagline is interesting. Or the description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah. At number 7, this might be a documentary. An international team of climbers ascends Mount Everest in the spring of 1996. It was called Everest.
Oh, it's not over the top.
Yeah, I think that might have been an IMAX thing. At number 6, when a cockerel apparently flies into a chicken farm, the chickens see him as an opportunity to escape their evil owners.
Chicken Run.
Yeah.
Chicken Run, yes.
This was the
I heard Chicken
production team, right? From Wallace and Gromit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Aardvark animation.
It had Mel Gibson as the main chicken
Oh,
or something crazy like
As
that.
the cock that flies into the roost. Like, it's a charming movie.
yeah.
My grandmother loved it. I remember that. But
Well, exactly.
that's all you got. I got to ask.
Yeah,
Grandma liked
no,
it.
it was. Yeah, it's a perfectly nice movie. All right, coming in at number. What am I at? Number 5. Peaceful farmer Benjamin Martin is driven to lead the colonial militia during the American Revolution when a sadistic British officer murders his son.
Oh my God.
Swamp Fox. What's this movie called?
No, it's The Patriot with yet
Patriot.
again
Mel Gibson. Yep.
The aforementioned.
Yeah, he's the Swamp.
Clay chicken.
What was his character's name? He's the Swamp Fox. He was supposedly based on a real dude.
Oh, was
All
he?
guerrilla warfare.
Benjamin
he was
Martin.
based on a real guy. I didn't realize it was.
I don't think it's true story, but yeah, I think he's based on the Swamp Fox, who was the guerrilla guy.
Like, he was a badass in the French and Indian Wars.
Yeah, exactly. He knew how to navigate horizontally.
Yeah, guerrilla warfare. That's how the Revolutionary War was won.
Right.
No, it's true.
Charlie Staff.
Anyways,
At number 4. Ooh, this one. An unhappy and disliked image consultant gets a second shot at life when he is mysteriously confronted by an 8-year-old version of himself. Starring Bruce Willis.
Yeah. The Kid.
The Kid, yes. Yeah, that.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that movie. At number 3, an unusually intense storm pattern catches some commercial fishermen unaware and puts them in mortal danger.
Clooney.
The big wave one. What was that called?
The
Deep Blue
Perfect
Sea.
Storm?
The Perfect Storm,
Perfect
yeah.
Storm.
Perfect Storm. Marky Mark was in that one.
Yep, he was. So what's happening?
The Funky Bunch. Meanwhile,
Jeez.
Yeah, they were also there.
That's the Funky Bunch was the rest of the crew.
Too much funk on the starboard bow.
Like, hey guys, I think the storm's really serious.
I'm gonna kick its ass. All right.
At number 2, a year after disposing of the body of a man they accidentally killed, a group of teenagers are stalked by a serial killer.
Oh shit! Saw it in the theater.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yep.
Wrong. Scary Movie.
What?
I Know What You Did Last Summer was 2 years earlier.
That's a good one too. That's right.
Wasn't that made by the dudes who made Airplane?
No, it was made by the Wayans brothers.
Yeah.
That was the Wayans Brothers movie? I thought that was an Airplane. The guys who did Airplane, they produced it. But
They might have produced it. They might have produced the first one, but yeah, it's Marlon and Tito. What's Marlon and
Damon Jr.? No. Oh no,
no, the two younger guys. Anyways,
yeah,
it's all Wayans.
Yeah,
Wayans all the way up.
I loved that movie as a kid. Oh, the movie is so dirty.
And part 2 is really funny. Isn't that the one with Chris Elliott and his tiny ass hand?
I think so. I don't think I've seen it since it came out.
Saw the driving.
And then, of course, number 1 was X-Men, which I love the tagline to this. In a world where mutants exist, two groups for an inevitable clash. The Supremacist Brotherhood and the Pacifist X-Men. Jesus. That's
Pacifist X-Men, my ass.
And the Supremacist Brotherhood? That's not what I got out of this movie.
What is the Brotherhood called, Al?
Of Evil.
It's been called the Brotherhood of Mutants or the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Okay. Yeah. I guess depending on who's talking about them, I'm sure.
And that's actually...
Yeah, sometimes they refer to themselves as the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. It's like, you guys know you're evil?
Do you think it's ironic?
Like, oh, we're so evil.
That's a good question.
That actually brings us to...
These fucking idiots think we're evil.
That actually brings us to a good jumping off point, Al. There's a few characters in this movie. Characters which premiered in comic books.
That is correct. So, X-Men. The X-Men were created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. Their first appearance was in X-Men number 1 in September 1963.
And sorry, not to interrupt, Al. Not to interrupt, but we have produced by Avi Arad and Stan Lee on this one. And I don't know if you guys spotted it, our very first Stan Lee cameo.
Yes, I saw him.
Yeah, he was on the beach when the senator washed up.
Okay, so let's see. Stan Lee said that he wanted to create another group of superheroes, having had success with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, but he didn't want to explain how they got their powers. He is quoted as saying, "I couldn't have everybody bitten by a radioactive spider or exposed to a gamma ray explosion. I took the cowardly way out. I said to myself, why don't I just say they're mutants? They were born that way."
Was that Stan Lee? Was that the
I don't know. I loved it though.
Stan.
Who was that on the line?
Yeah, welcome back, Stan.
It makes storytelling more fun.
It's great, Al. Sorry.
Some nights I just have Al read me stories with the voices.
Yes.
Read me your comic book collection and the voice of Stan Lee.
That was my best attempt. Okay, so I believe it was Jack Kirby who thought to put them in a school with Professor Xavier. The original title was The Mutants, which was turned down by Marvel publisher Martin Goodman, saying that readers would not know what a mutant was.
And let's not tell them.
But in X-Men, they'll know right away what that means.
He's a former.
Although the X-Men are widely regarded as being named after Professor Xavier, in the original issue, Professor X himself explained that they are called the X-Men because they all have extra power.
Yeah. Because they all love ecstasy. That's where they get their powers.
They all love that band X.
Yeah, each and every one.
Los Angeles.
The original roster included Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Beast, Angel, and Iceman.
His power was being
team leader Scott Summers.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Yep.
Team leader Scott Summers, Cyclops. He has the power of optic force blasts, and he is a master technician.
I would just like to say briefly, my wife also has the power of optic force blasts.
Did I say technician or tactician? I meant tactician.
It's a technician. So it's like, yeah. He has a license in
Captain America.
He's not actually a very good technician. He is a master tactician.
All right.
All right. Moving on to Jean Grey, who was first known as Marvel Girl, originally possessed only the power of telekinesis. The character would later be granted the power of telepathy and go through some major changes in the Phoenix Saga and the Dark Phoenix Saga.
Oh, yes.
Like every young lady. The changes.
Robert Drake, Iceman, has the ability to manipulate ice and cold by freezing water vapor around him, allowing him to freeze objects and turn his body into ice. We just see a little bit of him in this movie. He gains a little more prominence later on. We'll get to Angel and Beast in later podcasts as they show up in later movies.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's powerful abilities, including ESP, telepathy, and mental manipulation powers. Also possesses a genius-level intellect.
Of course. That's Professor X, right, Al? You broke up a little there.
That is correct. Professor Charles Xavier.
Charles.
His goals are to promote the peaceful affirmation of human rights and to protect society from antagonistic mutants.
All right.
Good job.
A good mission statement.
So those all came from the original X-Men. Wolverine, a.k.a. Logan, first appeared in the last panel of Incredible Hulk number 180, then returned with a larger role in number 181 and 182. Number 181 was back in November 1974. Wolverine was created by Marvel editor Roy Thomas, writer Len Wein, and art director John Romita Sr.
Len Wein,
the X-Men.
We've heard Len Wein many times.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
I can't.
Swamp Thing. He got that going, but anyway.
Wolverine joined the X-Men in 1975's Giant Size X-Men number 1.
Ooh.
He has enhanced physical abilities like strength, speed, and agility, etc. Superhuman, almost animal-like senses. Regenerative healing factor. Retractable bone/adamantium claws.
Schnick.
Due to his adamantium schnick. And he has an adamantium-infused skeleton, which he was not born with.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
And a heart of gold. Maybe it's Maybelline.
He was originally created as a secondary character for that particular Hulk story, and they had no real intention of taking him much further as a character. Wolverine, of course, has become one of the most popular comic characters of all time, ranked at number 1 in Wizard Magazine's 2008 Top 200 Comic Book Characters.
So what? Just not to interrupt out, but if there's one thing I've learned about Marvel Comics, it's that every single named character at some point is going to get their own comic run of at least 75 issues.
It's true.
Yeah. They'll dig back and pull things out too. I mean, like Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy came out of 40 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which is pretty neat. That's a great comic. It's really fun to read. But yeah, anything that had a name at some point will get its own run.
Yeah.
Did you mention that he was a stinking Canadian?
Yeah.
I did not mention that. Yes.
He probably got his adamantium through the National Health. I bet he didn't.
Wait, that is socialist adamantium?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, man.
That's what I think. long waiting list, but yeah, he didn't pay.
Okay, moving on to Rogue. She was first slated to appear in Ms. Marvel number 25 in 1979. The book's cancellation left her original introduction story unpublished until Marvel Heroes number 11 in 1992. So Rogue's first published appearance was in Avengers Annual number 10 in 1981, and she debuted as a villain.
Oh, wow. I had no idea she was around that long.
Yeah.
That's a villain.
Yeah, so she debuted as a villain. The lore goes that she was a runaway, and she was adopted by Mystique.
Oh.
Mystique is her adoptive mother.
Huh.
Her first X book appearance is in Uncanny X-Men number 158 in 1982, and she joined the X-Men as a hero in Uncanny X-Men number 171 the following year, 1983. Rogue's backstory was not fully explored in comics until around 2004, including her real name, which I believe was Anne Marie when they finally revealed her true name in comics.
What a reveal.
Yeah.
We finally know.
She didn't have a she didn't have a last name.
Like Cher.
Her abilities, the absorption of life force, abilities, memories, personality, and physical characteristics of others via skin-to-skin contact.
But not credit card debt, unfortunately.
Well, fortunately for her.
For her, sure.
Yeah. Imagine having to take that on every time you touch somebody. Just take on their credit card debt. Ugh.
And you know all the books they read.
You suddenly have their peanut allergy.
So in the comics, she also had superhuman strength and flight, which she gained from permanently absorbing the powers and psyche of Carol Danvers, a.k.a. Miss Marvel.
Whoa. So she was able to permanently absorb them.
It was a thing with Miss Marvel and her Kree DNA. And so I believe what I read, Rogue snuck up on Carol Danvers when she was returning home from the grocery store. Snuck up behind her and grabbed her to steal her powers.
That's happened to me.
Simple mugging.
But it was the ensuing struggle. Was the contact was so long that it was prolonged that the transfer became permanent.
If only Martin Lawrence had been there dressed as a fat old lady to protect her.
Oh my God. I was waiting for the moment. I didn't want to interrupt. God
Beat
damn.
you to it.
Good for you. He can stop Roberts.
All right. Moving on to Storm, another character created by Len Wein and Dave Cockrum. First appeared in the giant-sized X-Men number 1, 1975. Born Aurora Monroe to a tribal princess of Kenya, Storm has the ability.
Yeah. I always thought that was cool, especially in the 70s. She's not only from an African village, she's sort of the queen of, or whatever the appropriate title is. I always thought that was cool.
And she has that traditional African name of Monroe.
Yeah, Monroe, exactly.
Well, I think there's a lot of she gets orphaned and stuff, right? But currently, she's married to
T'Challa. Is that what you're saying?
The celebrity gossip. Yeah, she's married to Black Panther. They both reign in Wakanda, I guess, in the comics currently, which is interesting. Her being royalty, that makes sense for him to marry.
Can we help out my village? He's like, yeah, maybe.
Because there aren't many royal superheroes. You got maybe Captain Britain and the Inhumans, but you might catch something. They're from the moon.
Yeah.
The queen is a superhero.
Getting back to her last name, I believe her father was like a photojournalist or something like that, who wasn't necessarily from Kenya.
Of course. You have to sprinkle some Caucasian in there.
I don't know if he was Caucasian necessarily, but he just wasn't from Kenya.
Fair enough. It was a different Monroe.
Oh, that's where the Monroe comes from. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Queen, I'm pretty sure, is Mystique at this point.
The character from Too Close for Comfort, Monroe.
I'm pretty sure at this point the Queen is actually just Mystique. She's been alive so long.
Seriously. That's a good point.
Storm has the ability to control the weather and atmosphere. She is considered to be one of the most powerful mutants on the planet. And she is the first major female character of African descent in comics.
Woo! Go Storm.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the bad guys.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. Magneto. His real name is Max Eisenhart.
What?
And yeah, it was different for the movie.
That makes so much more sense because a note I've always had is that his last name did not quite match his Jewish heritage and the region he was in. But that name does. That name perfectly does. How strange. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So he first appeared in X-Men #1 way back in '63. He has the ability to generate and control magnetic fields. He's an old friend of Professor X and opposes Charles's pacifist attitude towards the humans, pushing for a more aggressive approach to achieving mutant civil rights.
So you said he's the manager of the magnetic field? Sorry.
Did I say that?
No, you did not say that. All right, yeah, they're buddies. They grew up and then they split.
Yeah. Well, and they were
school ties situation.
Very loosely based on like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, supposedly having somewhat of oppositional, but just different approaches to similar goals. I guess
that makes sense.
Stan Lee's like description that I loosely remember.
Well, and Stan Lee has often said that the X-Men did represent the civil rights, struggle and movement.
Well, yeah, pretty clearly in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it became a vehicle for that. Yeah, it's kind of cool to see that too.
And because of them, dudes made of ice can vote now. So.
But Storm still can't.
Storm still can't.
Iceman,
because she's Kenyan.
Iceman, he's gay in the comics now, and he isn't like an alpha level or omega level mutant because he can make things turn into like negative Kelvin or some shit. It's hard to keep up with all this stuff.
It really is.
These are the things that I remember.
I need to renew my subscription to the week. The X week. All right, Al, you're talking about Ninja Turtles or something?
Yeah. So, no, that was actually going to be my next talking point. Writer Chris Claremont, who wrote for the Uncanny X-Men between 75 and 91, confirmed that Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. were inspirations for the characters of Magneto.
I'm sorry, I didn't let you say that.
Yeah, same.
Oh, no, that's all right.
I'm not sorry.
Because Brian said it was like rumored, and then I have that Chris Claremont confirmed it.
Yeah,
we have confirmation. I'm going to print with this.
Stanley discussed it in some publication. I didn't Google it for the podcast. Sorry, listeners. But he said as much himself, I'm pretty sure, too.
Well, and after Stan Lee, Claremont, and then John Byrne, those were, they own the X-Men intellectually, those guys. But anyway.
All right. Mystique, her real name is Raven Darkholm. She was created by artist David Cockrum and writer Chris Claremont. First appeared in Miss Marvel number 16, April 1978. Her true physical appearance was not revealed until 2 issues later.
Wait. The blueness wasn't revealed?
Right, because So for the first 2 issues that she was in disguise.
Gotcha.
Right.
And
so that's her last name. So you don't know you're going to be a mutant beforehand.
But yeah,
that's the family she was born
maybe
into.
just a witch.
Raven right? Darkholm. It's like Dad.
Raven Darkholm, attorney at law.
Yeah, Raven Darkholm, kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, and also Odin's niece.
Oh, really? Yeah, Raven. Yeah. That's so Raven.
You beat me to it that time.
You deserve.
You guys were on it.
So she's a shapeshifter who can mimic the appearance and voice of any person with exquisite precision. She has enhanced strength, stamina, and agility. Also has a regenerative healing factor. And as I stated earlier, she was the adoptive mother of X-Men heroine Rogue. Sabretooth.
All that and
real
a single
name.
mom.
Yeah, right. She's like Alice.
Sabretooth.
Okay, Sabretooth.
Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Yes, Al.
Real name, Victor Creed. Created by Chris Claremont and artist co-creator John Byrne. He first appeared in Iron Fist number 14 in August of 1977. Introduced as a minor X-Men villain in 1986, would become a recurring antagonist of Wolverine in particular. Claremont has said that he intended Sabretooth to be Logan's father. Sabretooth would hunt down Logan on his birthday every year and come to within an inch of killing him just to remind Logan that he could.
And to give him spankings. They had a similar history, though. Maybe that was just explored in the movies, but they both came from the Weapon X program, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember I liked Rob Liefeld's depiction of Sabretooth back in the day. Yeah, he drew him really well. This one's a little pro wrestler.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie is pro wrestler.
Especially the Octagon.
As far as movies go, I thought the Sabretooth was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he has superhuman strength and senses, razor sharp fangs and claws, and a rapid healing factor. Okay, and that takes us down to Toad.
Toad! And the wet sprocket.
And the wet sprocket.
He just threw those at you.
The sprocket is wet.
His name is Mortimer Toynbee.
Oh.
Again, that was his name before he knew he had mutant ability.
Why do you think he became evil?
I was like, I got the name.
He was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and he first appeared in X-Men number 4 in March of 1964 as part of the Brotherhood of Mutants. Originally, he was a weak, hunchbacked servant of Magneto with a superhuman leaping ability. The character would be modified through the years to include the elongated prehensile tongue, a psychoactive venom secretion sticking to the walls, etc. He had a lot of powers that arose over the years. The adhesive spit.
He spent a lot of time in castles waiting for Mario to get there.
Has anybody ever read the short story by Edgar Allan Poe, Hop Toad? Hop Toad?
I don't think so.
Yeah. About a little dwarf jester that seems a lot like the Toad character from the comics who gets revenge on the royal court. But anyway.
Toad would go on to start his own Brotherhood of Mutants down the road. But his
with blackjack and hookers.
Amphibious ones.
Every B-lister I could find.
Were you rejected by...
His team focused more on petty crime. Did you catch that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Al.
He was focused on crime more than justice.
Right. Yes. Toad's Brotherhood of Mutants focused more on petty crime than mutant liberation.
Right.
And that's the end of comics history for this week.
Woo! Thank you, Al.
Well done, Al.
That was
Thank you. Yeah.
There was
That was the gauntlet, man.
a lot of fellers in there and ladies.
Wait till you get to the third one. There's hundreds.
Oh my god.
So,
Spoiler alert.
obviously, we'll point out its problems, but does anyone else agree that this felt like the first movie where they started understanding how to make comic book movies? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Batman's beautiful, but it's beautiful as its own film. But like this one, I remember after seeing it going like, well, that could have been better, but I think they're getting it now.
This cast the mold more than anything that we've seen by far.
That's a good way to put it.
More than any other movie, this is definitely like the first modern superhero movie that in many ways we're still getting.
More so than Blade, even?
More so than Blade, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The ensemble cast interaction was pretty seamless. There were some clunky moments, but they weren't with each other, that kind of thing.
They were acknowledging the comic book specifically over and over again, and
I mean,
there's
this was also, I mean, apart from comics, the most highly anticipated comics movie for myself.
Yeah.
Since the first Batman.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
There's also an argument to be made that this movie is tangentially at least tied as of now to the MCU. So this could be the first movie we've done that the universe still exists and is being played with. I mean, so because certainly the New Mutants coming out, maybe someday, eventually, is in that same universe. And theoretically, Deadpool will be joining the MCU. And that Deadpool does exist in this universe specifically. So this is the first movie we've gotten to with a universe that is still being played with.
I mean, it's arguable whether or not that Deadpool cameo in Wolverine, whatever Origins, exists in the Fox universe.
Right.
Well, but the first Deadpool takes place in this universe with Colossus and Negasonic and Teenage Warhead. They're in this same mansion with this same jet plane.
That's totally true. Totally true. Yeah.
Right. Good point. All right.
Brave New Worlds.
I missed all that, but I'll take your word for it.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Spoiler alert.
We were just tying everything together with the Kennedy assassination. I think we had a breakthrough.
Yeah, there's a Simpsons episode, like the third season, you should watch too.
And the answer is midichlorians.
Yeah, it's all midichlorians.
Medium chlorines.
Medium chlorines with color guard.
Okay.
I prefer Chlorians light.
Wait,
I prefer.
Is Harmless Phosphorescence a tie-dye now?
I prefer midichlorians, crystal midichlorians. All right. Anyways, so that brings us to the production of this film. So this movie was directed by child sexual predator Bryan Singer. We're not going to say too much about him, other than to briefly run down some of the movies he made. The usual,
while being a dirty old pervert.
Yeah, The Usual Suspects.
Just saying that out loud.
Yeah,
a young old pervert.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to come up a lot.
He is. Yeah. He is, unfortunately, and we will.
For some reason, he's the only one that can make an X-Men movie. I don't know how that got decided, but
yeah, exactly. But so he started off with The Usual Suspects. He made Apt Pupil, which is where a lot of his, so we say, troubles began. Again, if you want to know about that, Google it. But trigger warning: he's not a good man. Fuck
him and the Kevin Spacey he wrote in on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh God, The Usual Suspects. What a coming together of disgusting predators.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, okay, then we have X2. He made X2, Superman Returns.
The worst. Worse than 4, maybe.
Yeah.
With Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
As Lex Luthor, right?
Again.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck these guys, right? He did Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix. The last movie he was allowed to make was Bohemian Rhapsody, from which he had to remove himself from consideration for awards because of the stuff we're talking about. So that's all I really want to say about that guy.
Besides, fuck Bryan Singer. I'll say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, sorry.
The screenplay was by David Hayter. He disliked things immensely.
No,
he's gonna hate.
Opposite.
Yeah, right.
Verbal irony. He loves everything.
Let's see. He got to start with a movie called Burn. He also wrote The Scorpion King, X2, The Watchmen. What else we got? Not a whole lot else. We also have a story by Tom DeSanto, who wrote Transformers and a lot of the Battlestar Galactica scripts from the reboot series, not the 70s one. This movie starred Mr. Patrick Stewart.
Okay, so before you break everybody down, fantastic casting.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it can be argued.
No.
Yeah, possibly the best casting in a superhero movie
Ever.
still.
Yeah, across the board, this is amazing.
The casting director nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and setting the tone for future movies, saying you can hire Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman, the fucking musical actor. He's a stage actor,
right?
You know, to be your leading man,
right?
And how much do you want to bet Bryan Singer had pitched, just a bald Kevin Spacey? No, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
He's in great
Kevin
shape.
could
You got to
do it.
see him. You should see him after parties. He's like,
Oh,
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
But you know what I mean? I bet that happened.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyways, great cast.
Well, yeah, and let's not forget that this movie started the 21st century's one of the 21st century's great bromances between Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah. This is how they met.
Yeah,
this is incredible.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. So Patrick,
I would say both of them have said that they should have run into each other when they were younger, and that's like this is the way they met. It's like a miracle for them.
Yeah,
it's like when we said earlier, Eric Idle and George Harrison met in Los Angeles. Stuff like that, just weird.
It's incredible.
It's
How
crazy.
Did you not know each other?
Well, yeah, because Patrick Stewart,
England's small.
Your mothers must know each other. Right. Jesus.
Well, yeah, and throughout the 60s and 70s, we were both just doing stage in London for like for like 15 years. How did they not know each other?
They may have been like cast in the similar roles or something.
Right, friendly rivals.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Patrick Stewart became a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company in 1966. He remained with them until 1982. He had a number of small film roles throughout the late 70s and 80s. Let's see. He was in Excalibur. The Plague Dogs, Dune.
Oh yes, Dune.
Yeah. Lady Jane. But then let's see. In 1987. Well, okay. So, all right. So he famously said he preferred classical theater to other genres, and he asked Doctor Who actress Lalla Ward why on earth she would work in science fiction or television. However, then in 1987, he agreed to work in Hollywood on a revival of Star Trek, The Next Generation. Robert H. Justman saw him while attending a literary reading at UCLA and convinced him to try out for the role of Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Patrick Stewart knew nothing about Star Trek, its cultural influence, or its iconic status in American culture. He was reluctant to sign the standard contract for 6 years, but did so as he and his agent and others whom he consulted all believed the new show would quickly fail and he could return to London after making a few quick bucks. That did not happen. And
whoops.
He most recently played Jean-Luc Picard this year in Picard.
Dude. That was like 16 years ago. You're kidding me. That was this year.
Yeah,
That was
right.
such a good show.
Yeah, Picard was very good. Was very good. And of course, yeah, he went on to play Jean-Luc Picard for 7 seasons on Star Trek: The Next Generation, over the course of 5 movies, I believe. Yeah, so that was.
Has he been in every X-Men movie as Professor X? I know James McAvoy has taken over, but
yeah, no, he hasn't been in everyone. He was in the first 3, and he was in Logan.
And,
and
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. That's right. I forgot at the framing device.
That's my favorite one. I can't wait till we get to that one.
That's a good one. It really is.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So Hugh Jackman.
Awesome.
This was his 3rd movie. He was in one called Kings, one called Paperback Hero, both which were Australian, and then he was cast in X-Men as Wolverine. Hugh Jackman, the Wolverine.
Well, I mean, after all of these years, even has anybody? I mean, personally, has anybody ever even thought of somebody else who could have done it? No. I haven't.
I've tried.
So
I've tried as well. My one quibble with Hugh Jackman is that he's 6'2", and the character of Wolverine is supposed to be about 5'3".
That's true. He seems short in the movies, though. They do it.
They do a little some perspective shots that kind of make him look a little shorter than Scott Summers at some point, and a little shorter than Jean Grey, but he still comes off as pretty tall.
He does.
But no, he nailed it so much that that has become a minor quibble. Jerry Wagner once said that he thought Glenn Danzig could make a good Wolverine.
Well, yeah.
Visually, yes. But imagine him having to deliver any line.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's a bummer.
Hugh Jackman defined this role.
A funny
5'3". I put my money on Tom Cruise.
Yeah, right.
5'3". He's the only actor that I can think of that's 5'3".
And Tom Cruise, they have to put lifts in his shoes so he's taller, whereas Hugh Jackman, they have to cut his feet off.
Yeah, he literally.
Yeah.
So a funny anecdote: a few years ago, Hugh Jackman went in full Wolverine makeup to the San Diego Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. And of course, no one realized it was actually Hugh Jackman. They thought it was just a cosplayer. And he was told by a number of people, "You look good, but you're too tall."
That's perfect. Yeah, Al's right. He's tiny, little guy, little Canadian guy.
Yeah. Other than the only other casting that I think made a role as iconic as Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is probably Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. I can't think of another one that so defined the role.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so after this, of course, he went on to do a lot of Wolverines, and then a bunch of romantic comedies in the 2000s. Someone Like You, Kate and Leopold, Swordfish. And we will actually see him in one other role because we have decided Van Helsing is a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And that's coming up in, it'll take us a few months to get there.
Did we decide that?
We did.
Yeah, sure.
We had a conversation about it, Al. I don't know if you remember. It was in Brian's backyard.
I remember it vaguely. I don't recall the conclusion of the.
I think Blade came up.
Well, you signed it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have your signature, Al.
It must have been under duress. No, I'm okay with that. Van Helsing's kind of fun.
Yeah.
We saw it in the theater, you and I.
I saw it.
He did.
Oh God, I saw it in the
Hugh
theater
Jackman,
with Catherine.
You saw it where?
I was trying to remember. I just now remembered who I saw it with. It was with an ex-girlfriend. Anyways.
Gotcha. He went on to do a lot of musicals. He's quite a singer and dancer, Hugh Jackman.
Oh yeah, yeah. Most recently, of course, famously in The Greatest Show on Earth.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah, Les Miserables.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah, Greatest Showman. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, Les Mis. He was great. Yeah, he was to me, him and what's her face were the standouts of Les Mis. He's so good.
Yeah, he is great.
He is.
Ian McKellen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Can you fairly call her a standout if you have to call her what's her name?
I forget her name. The girl from Interstellar, got big teeth, and she's gorgeous.
I can't remember. I know who you're talking about.
Hugh Jackman.
One thing about this, it's crazy to go back to this because he is so much less a huge jacked man than he became in later Wolverines.
Yeah.
Well, and you can see how much he ages and how much he's counteracting the aging with just sheer like musculature and like veiny-ness.
Right. Just getting crazy.
He's totally
ripped.
dreamy. You guys.
I'm impressed.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. There she is.
Why are we remembering her?
She was in Les Mis, and she was good.
Oh, Les Mis, yeah.
On this Hathaday, we remember Anne Hathaway.
No, she's not my favorite. Mm-hmm. Who are you on? Ian McKellen?
Ian McKellen, we actually covered him in The Shadow. So we won't go too much into his deep, dark past. Remember, he was in The Shadow, guys?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he was the scientist. That's right. That's the other role he's really famous for, right? When he was the scientist in The Shadow.
In The Shadow, exactly. Yeah, the only other role.
I remember him in, yeah.
His Magneto is fantastic. Fassbender's is as well, but he looked to McKellen's portrayal.
So
the way they interacted with each other quite a bit, I'm pretty sure, to make that effortless and seamless on screen. So they did a fantastic job of making him feel weird.
Good job.
Yeah.
And making him feel menacing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And
I was saying, having a good reason to be upset,
Oh yeah.
Like, all of the visuals at the very beginning of this movie it was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen's in this, they had just the most amazing chemistry together, those two guys. But and
then so do the younger ones, but we're on this movie.
Yeah. So but I was gonna say this 2000 was a hell of a year for Ian McKellen. This was the year of both Gandalf and Professor Magneto.
So this was his Patrick Stewart joining Star Trek year. Like, I'm going to do these movies. It'll be fine. Run around in New Zealand. Oh shit, I'm so famous now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see. We have Halle Berry as Storm. Halle Berry got her start in Jungle Fever. She had it. She was in Strictly Business, The Last Boy Scout, Boomerang, Fatherhood. In 1994, she was in The Flintstones playing a character named Sharon Stone.
Yeah. She's the femme fatale type character.
But they couldn't get Sharon Stone to play Sharon Stone. Anyways,
that's too meta for Bedrock.
Right. Let's see. Rich Man's Wife, Bulworth. Then she was also in Swordfish with Hugh Jackman, and she won her Oscar for Monsters Ball in 2001.
She won her Razzie for Catwoman.
Right? Yes. So Catwoman, 2004, another movie we will be covering. 2004 shaping up to look like a great year, guys. Catwoman and Van Helsing. No.
It gets worse.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh God, it gets worse. Yeah, no. We have yet to see whether Superman 4 remains the worst movie. There's a few contenders out there.
I can't possibly.
Catwoman amongst them.
She was okay. I don't know if maybe they didn't write enough for her. She wasn't bad, but she was very bland.
I feel like her writing bland. Just really, there was nothing interesting written for her at all.
There was no time for anyone to say anything.
Yeah. Well, true. And yeah, okay. Well, yeah, and you know what? We already passed the writers, but I'm going to mention this. So, at this point, so Joss Whedon did a pass on the script, uncredited pass on the script. Joss Whedon, who
doesn't he say that about every movie,
right? That's been a number of movies, and will continue to be more. Yeah.
Next to Carrie Fisher, he might be the Patton Oswalt does it too.
Yeah, definitely. So, but the most famous line that Halle Berry has in this is, "Do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?" She says, the same thing that happens to everything else. And then he dies. Joss Whedon wrote that line. And he famously complained about it afterwards, saying that the director and Halle Berry both completely missed the point of the line and botched the entire sequence. It was supposed to be, she says, do you know what happens to a toad when it hits by lightning? It gets struck by lightning, and then afterwards, just imagine like Sarah Michelle Gellar saying something like this. She says, the same thing that happens to everything else, and walks away.
Right.
Kind of an offhanded, like, meta thing, but
yeah. Well, Halle did not do that. Halle Berry,
no, and Bryan Singer completely missed the point of it as well. Anyway, so we have Famke Janssen as Dr. Jean Grey. She got her start in Fathers and Sons. She played Xenia Onatopp in GoldenEye in 1995.
She's Dutch.
Yes. Let's see. She was in The Gingerbread Man, Deep Rising, Rounders, The Faculty, House on Haunted Hill, I Spy in 2002, bunch of stuff. She hasn't been around too much lately, though. Haven't seen her a lot. James Marsden played Cyclops. He began his acting career in Saved by the Bell, the new class.
Yeah. He gets work, man.
Dude, that guy works. He was in Touch.
Is it just me, or is he like the new Paul Rudd energy?
Oh, totally. He's like everywhere, and he's always playing this like kind of like dopey guy who's like,
he's
hey,
adorable.
Guy. Yeah, exactly. Totally. Have any of you watched Dead to Me on Netflix?
Oh yeah.
I haven't. I just saw the promo for season 2, and I had never seen anything for it before. But it looks great. It's next on my list.
It is. It is great. And season 2 has my favorite. I don't want to call it stunt casting, but my favorite bit of casting. With wherein Katie Seagal plays Linda Cardellini's mother
nice.
Instead of Christina Applegate's.
Right.
Yes, of course.
Isn't that
great?
Yeah. James Marsden. We will see him in Superman Returns. He started other. Westworld. He's been in Westworld recently.
30 Rock.
30 Rock. Huh. He's in everything. Cats and Dogs 2, Enchanted. And
isn't he in Sonic the Hedgehog?
And
He's in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
And Sonic 2 has been announced.
Dude, he's making that bread.
Yeah, he is. Let's see. We have got Mr. Bruce Davidson. Bruce who played the Senator Kelly.
I suppose you're right.
We do indeed.
Yeah. He was also in Willard in 1971. Vendetta. He's played supporting roles in looks like literally dozens and dozens of movies.
He's a huge character, actually.
Yeah, totally. Rebecca Romaine Stamos as Mystique. A role which will
she does a really good job, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know why I say actually. What a prick thing to do. But yeah, she does a good job.
Yeah, no, she's good in this. She, of course, started out as a model, but she transferred over into being an actress. She was in Dirty Work, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, Rollerball. We will see her in more X-Men movies. We'll see her in The Punisher. She most recently has been playing number 1 in Star Trek Discovery.
Oh, yeah.
And there's another Star Trek project planned that follows Christopher Pike and number 1 and Spock starting from the Discovery storyline.
Huh.
I forget what it's called, but yeah, that'll be upcoming. So yeah, she's gonna keep doing that. She's also voiced Lois Lane in a number of recent Justice League DC. In Batman and Hush, she was the voice of Lois Lane also.
Okay. Huh. We have Ray Park. Not Ray Parker Jr. Wait. Don't make that mistake, guys. Ray Park. Yes, Darth Maul. We of course, if you haven't heard, we did all the Star Wars movies for our patron series, Harmless Midichlorians. $5. You can go listen to those on our patreon.com/harmless entertainment. We will see him in G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra for our other patron episodes, our monthly movie, which we'll be doing in June. We will be watching G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra with Ray Park.
Snake Eyes.
Who is he in this?
In this, he played Toad.
Oh.
Which he does some like pointing at being Darth Maul.
Right, there's that thing where he like spins the thing around. Yeah.
The stick that was holding the elevator door open. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Other than that, he got to start as a stuntman. He also played Edgar in Heroes. Yeah. Anna Paquin, the second youngest Oscar winner of all time after Shirley Temple.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. She won for 1993's The Piano. Josh, I know his feelings about that.
Josh.
Well, yeah, that's beside the point. I just don't think she's a good actress. I mean, I haven't liked her in any of these X-Men movies.
Yeah, no.
She is the weakest link in this whole movie.
Absolutely. Without question.
Each movie.
Without question.
She's in.
I did.
No, each X-Men movie. They find a way to tie the story to her or her love interest, and she's just boring. She's like she's the oatmeal of actors.
Yeah, I did enjoy her in Almost Famous.
I never got the appeal as a kid. In Almost Famous, she's fun.
Yeah, she is fun in Almost Famous.
I never got the appeal of her in these movies. She's fine.
Yes. I will admit, the movie where she's wearing Daisy Duke shorts and a bikini top, jumping on a bed. She's pretty good in that. You're right.
Hey.
I haven't seen
all right, anyways, the Paquin.
Yeah.
Pack it up, pack it in.
Yeah, so she was let's see, she after winning for an Oscar for The Piano at the ripe old age.
She doesn't even play the piano, by the way.
Of 10.
I thought she was the piano itself, like she
is the piano. Yeah. Right.
Oh, I was confused.
And that's when I learned the piano was inside of us all the time. She went on.
The friends we made along the way.
Right. She went on to star in Fly Away Home, Walk on the Moon, and she played Suki Stackhouse in True Blood.
Her last name was Stackhouse in that show?
Yeah, from the Suki Stackhouse series of novels. I don't know.
I never saw those, so maybe she was quite good in those. They went on for a while and they were popular, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah,
I really liked that show, and she was good. And it's not Suki, it's Suki.
Suki.
That's cool.
That's cool.
It's all good, man. It's all good,
brother.
Dang, man, don't have a plan.
They call me the Admiral.
That was my best attempt at an impersonation of a vampire, Bill.
Yeah, Bill. Dude.
So,
God damn it.
This movie was reviewed by Ebert and Roper.
X-Men is obviously intended as the first in a series, and it intrigued me. I kind of liked it. I'd like to see a sequel. It spends too much time, though, I think, in setting up the characters and not enough time on the story. One X-Men after another is hauled on screen to demonstrate superpowers, but those scenes don't really add up, and the big climax is kind of an anticlimax. Fans of the comics will appreciate the movie, but if you don't walk in already knowing who Sabretooth and Mystique are, you're going to have to pay very close attention. An affectionate thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I like the characters, but it's hard to keep track of it. And, you know, even near the end of the movie, they're explaining to each other. Yeah. Well, we're in copper right now, so I can't change the weather, but if you bring out your big tentacles, maybe you can stab somebody. But wait a minute, you have the healing power, so if
we'll transfer the healing power to you.
I mean, shouldn't the X-Men at least know each other's powers? So, I mean, even the mutants are explaining to each other what's going on here. I like some of the characters, maybe 2 or 3 X-Men instead of 8 of them. And if they're going to do a series later on, we can learn about these other X-Men. But right now, I'm not even sure who the hero is in this first
I think
edition.
It's probably Wolverine, although on the other hand, he only has the blade. blades, whereas Storm can summon up an entire hurricane, which it seems to me make her the most powerful.
She should be the queen of the ex-people,
course,
and she should just tell the human beings, if you mess with me, I'll just ruin your entire country with one blink of the eyes. Instead, it's the Wolverine guy going like this, like Freddy Krueger.
You know, I understand this movie was chopped down 45 minutes after an early sneak preview, and I think the 45 minutes that are missing probably have more to do with the characters and more to do with the story. And what we have here now is basically just housekeeping. You know, who are all these people and what are their powers?
You need your guide to X-Men when you go see the movie.
2 thumbs down from Ebert and Roper.
Weird, because Roger was like talking about how much he liked it, and then he ultimately gave it a thumbs down. Like he said, a heartfelt thumbs down or something.
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
like, it's a good movie. Yeah, no, he's basically like, it's a good movie, and I enjoyed it. Thumbs down. Like what?
And they were complaining about I don't know, they couldn't figure out who the hero was, and then they decided, I mean, they were all heroes, but you know, Wolverine was basically the main character of this.
Okay.
You know, he was the central character.
You're following his point of view more often,
right? Him and Rogue, I think, but
he vaguely tracks a hero's journey.
They're complaining about how he just has these knives that come out of his hands, and it should have been. They talked about Storm having, you know, being so powerful she can control the weather and stuff, and then it was Roper who said, I think that, she should have used her power and become the queen of something and threatened countries with like bad weather or stuff to take over. She's like completely missing the point of,
man, do I have some comics for you to read?
Hero.
Right, of a hero. Not just Storm, but of a hero.
Yeah.
Or a team of heroes.
I just don't know what Roger Ebert even wants from a movie anymore.
He doesn't know. He just...
Yeah.
And Roper. I wish Roper was just Norman Fell from Three's Company. Ebert and Mr. Roper.
Roper, he's still doing reviews, by the way, like live reviews. I recently...
I'm sure he's good for nothing else.
Yeah, I recently watched him do Endgame, his Endgame review on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel now.
Of course. I love when they have suggestions. That's always my favorite. Well, I would have done it like this. Like, you don't understand art at all. Not at all.
No.
Critics got a critic.
It would have been hilarious right in the middle of their review if they're just like, we should make our own. Yeah, we totally should. And they just get up, high five, and leave.
And then 6 months later, Ebert and Roper's Crazy Train. I don't know what it would be called.
Soul Plane.
Ebert and Roper, Soul Plane 2, What a Man Wants.
All right, Dan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right. All right, so anyways, you guys ready to get into the movie?
Yeah.
Avengers Assemble.
Wrong universe. For now.
So here we go. This is the
X-Men Exfoliate.
Yeah, pass me that brush. I just imagine they all like do everything together, shower together.
Yeah.
Bunk heads.
Shower.
Apricot scrub.
Like Scott. Can you
They share the same loofah. Wolverine's like, oh, sorry, there might be some hair left in
that. Here is the X-Men. We open with a voiceover. Mutation. It is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to evolve into the dominant species on the planet. This process normally takes thousands and thousands of years. But now, with this brand new product, you too can...
We did it in as little as 140 minutes.
There's got to be a better way.
It's the first time we see that title sequence of like following synapses or following genetic. You know, they did in Spider-Man 2, but for a while, that's how they had to show us that superpowers were happening.
Wasn't there something like that in Fight Club at the beginning of Fight Club 2?
Yeah, it reminded me of Fight Club.
Yeah.
It was like the Chemical Brothers music. It was like techno playing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. So then. Yeah. Then out of the flashy credit sequence, we go straight into the Holocaust.
Sorry, I don't know why I
1944.
laughed. Perhaps nervousness.
Yeah. So there's some Germans. They're not being very nice to a young Jewish man and his family. So he gets all Magneto on him.
Yeah, they're separating his mother from him. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was a rough scene, man. Like, that
This
was...
is a scene, we re-explore this shit in later movies, too, which is crazy to me. Like,
Yeah, this isn't the last we see of the German camp.
To go back.
I think it's kind of cool that they went back, especially with Sebastian Shaw. But it was a very powerful choice on the director's part to start with something this heavy, rather than, like dun 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 dun. Like so many superhero movies.
Yeah,
saving a cat from a tree.
Right, exactly. It was like, hold on, you don't know what kind of movie this is yet.
Show the darkness of humanity to make the villain look reasonable. I mean, he looks reasonable immediately once you realize what's happening. You're like, oh fuck, I understand why having that power would. This 2 minutes instantly you're on Magneto's side at least a little bit. I remember being 11 years old and watching this shit in the movie theater, being like, oh
well
then,
the Holocaust. What if Stanley's cameo was
reading
that part?
X-Men? That's the only comic book I Sorry, we shouldn't be laughing. But no, I just, as such a young kid, that shit hit me because I was just like, wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I totally understand why he wants to just fucking separate himself from humanity and rise above in that sense.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But
it was a great job as far as the directing choice.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right. And then we cut from Nazi Germany to Mississippi. In so many ways, it seems like
there.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Poland though.
It was in Poland.
Just
That's right.
quibble.
I'm sorry, it was Poland.
Yeah.
The not too distant future is what the title card reads. A teenage boy and a girl are in her bedroom. She's talking about a road trip to Alaska. They kiss. He starts to convulse, but not in the good way. She freaks out as she thinks her touching him did it.
And it did.
Yes, she is correct.
She is correct in her assumption.
We cut to a Senate hearing. Jean Grey, a scientist, is testifying about a proposed mutant registration law. She's against it. Senator Kelly is for it, and he's all fear-mongering at her. Watching from the balcony is Professor Charles Xavier. He sees another man leaving and follows him. They speak. The other man's name.
They speak in that corridor. Did you notice how many X's were in that shot and in that frame?
Yeah.
It was pretty to look at.
Back to the Poland scene, the way that he mangled the fence into the shape of an X.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Right. Yes. Yeah, cool shit. I like shit like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so, Eric and Charles speak. Charles asks Eric not to give up on humanity. Eric says mutants are the future of the planet, and he leaves. Cut to Canada. The girl from earlier gets out of a truck. She's been hitchhiking into the middle of nowhere. She's at a bar. There's a cage match going on. An unbeatable mutton-chopped man and a local who gets his ass kicked by him. Afterwards, the girl's hanging out, being broke. The fighter is jumped by some unhappy bar patrons who lost money betting against him. They get racist, and then he schnickety-snacks him up a little bit with his claws and leaves.
Back at the when they're in the cage, just before the local guy starts pounding on him, the ringmaster, what do you call that guy? The announcer. He tells him
the grand dame.
Sir Charles Duke-Salot.
He tells him whatever you do, he'll take it. And I'm pretty sure that Wolverine actually gets kicked in the balls.
No,
sort of from the side.
He does. I actually, because I was watching it with the headphones on, you can actually hear the announcer guy say, "Oh no, you didn't," or something like that. Like,
yeah, and then there's another guy in the background who's like, "Oh, you idiot."
Mm-hmm.
But then, the look on Wolverine's face after that, when he starts to take it personal, he's just like, he's just taking a beating for a second. Then he gets kicked in the ball. It's like, no.
It's personal. I want to know to what degree does it vary? Him regularly kicking your ass nearly to death, or personal?
Yeah, taking it personal. Yeah.
And he talks about your mom.
Wolverine takes him out with like one punch to the hand, one punch to the head, and then a headbutt.
Yeah.
And
that seems like too much.
Well, he was sandbagging him the whole time because it's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Put it on the show.
Yeah. Let's see. The girl follows Wolverine out into the night. He gets into his camper truck and drives away. Next morning while driving, he hears something moving around in his trailer and finds the girl. She tells him she's Rogue. He gives her a ride and they talk about their mutantness and bond. Then they suddenly slam into a tree.
She didn't freeze to death in the back of that trailer, in the motorcycle trailer as they were driving.
Yeah.
Good point.
I mean,
she's a mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
did have a
absorbed
blanket.
that young man's body warmth, I'm sure, and it just like kept her warm through the coldness. Their exchange of names is really cute. She's like, I'm Rogue. And he's like, what the fuck kind of name is Rogue? And he's like, I'm Wolverine. And they both introduced themselves by their real names. Was great. That was great.
Yeah.
I hate it.
So yeah, and the tree really did come out of nowhere. That was cool.
Well, she's warning him. Put on your seatbelt. Don't tell me how to drive.
Exactly.
Tight.
Like that's irony. It's irony. Anyways.
I'm fucking Wolverine.
So Sabretooth shows up. Starts and kick.
They're in Canada. They could have called Alanis Morissette and let her know.
She's like, hey, you ought to know to wear your seatbelt.
No, he's like, this is irony. I don't need no seatbelt.
Writing a sequel.
It was badass how he flew out that windshield, though. Mm-hmm. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And how limply he's laying there and just the one arm moves in. That was that was cool.
Yeah.
And as his face heals, we see a little bit of metal skull under there.
Yeah.
The Madamantium.
Yeah. So Sabretooth shows up and kicks Wolverine's ass. However, before he can complete his ass kicking, two more mutants show up, Storm and Cyclops. But
it's kind of cool. Before Sabretooth shows up, and even before Wolverine smells him, he notices the tree.
Yeah.
Has been, knocked down or pulled down or whatever. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
So, Storm and Cyclops run Sabretooth off and rescue Rogue and the unconscious Wolverine. Then Sabretooth...
The unconscious... Didn't Carl Jung talk about that?
The
unconscious Wolverine.
Everybody's got one.
Everyone.
Oh, and supposedly Hugh Jackman studied wolves before this, not realizing because he's Australian, so he didn't realize that. And this was pre-Google. He didn't realize a Wolverine was actually not a wolf.
Honestly, it's probably better that he studied wolves than Wolverines.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because they're basically badgers.
Weird,
they're basically badgers.
Yeah. Like, they make crazy sounds and shit.
I'm from Australia, so I studied enormous spiders to prepare.
So Sabretooth goes home. We get to meet Toad, and we see that he's been working for Magneto.
Toad's doing some arts and crafts.
Yeah.
Yep. He's like, is there a bird in here? I swear I see a bird.
Magneto says it doesn't matter, and it's time for their plan to be put fully into action.
The little metal clickety clack balls was a cool effect.
Oh yeah.
Stress
they normally have
kinetic balls.
That's what they are. Sorry, yeah.
The kinetic balls. Yeah, that's I couldn't think of what they were called, but how they're just floating there, and then when he walks away, they drop.
Do you think Wolverine with his adamantium balls?
His balls drop.
His adamantium Wolverine balls click and clack, and that's why.
Oh my God! Did they replace his balls
with
They coat them with adamantium?
So they could do the click
Then
clack.
why would he mind being kicked in the balls?
I don't think it works like that. I think you can do that.
You don't think it works?
If Wolverine ever
You read
got
the
like
whole
a
manual?
gallstone, would that be adamantium?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can't pass this thing.
So, let's see. Meanwhile, Wolverine wakes up in a lab, attacks Jean Grey, and with the help of some voices in his head, makes his way through some shiny metal hallways and up an elevator to a fancy Hogwarts-looking place with some kids running around.
He's like, wait, what? Xavier was my safety school.
He sneaks into a room to find Professor X teaching some kids. The lesson ends, and X gives him a super quick rundown on the plot.
So let's name some mutants we spotted in the classroom.
Well, the Kitty Pryde was the big one there.
Kitty Pryde by name. Jubilee.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow, yeah.
I thought there was something
Iceman was there, but we're like formally introduced to him later.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who can play with fire? That's in the second
Pyro.
movie? Pyro.
Yeah.
He's
Pyro.
in this.
I'll bet there was a kid whose power is good at math, but we just didn't know.
Yeah.
Dangerously good at math.
Like Eric Warheim on The Office. He had gone to a school for mutants. He's like, I have powers. I have night hearing. Dogs know where I point. Yeah, anyways. All right. Classrooms.
Yeah.
He's
So,
like, what's this school?
yeah. And then we get like the full on like the music gets all like do 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 do, and he's like, the school for the mutants, Professor X. Here we are.
Welcome back. Dreams were your ticket out. I love that Wolverine, after he tells him what it is, Wolverine's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He's like 100 years old.
Right.
But he doesn't know that. He only remembers back as far as 15 years.
That's true. So like Tim Allen and the like 80s stand-up comics is like the extent of what he really
He's like, this is even dumber than Paula Poundstone's act.
Exactly. Fucking peanuts on a plane. Shut up.
So, all right. Yeah, so X introduces him to the rest of the supporting cast and then freaks him out with his mind powers. Professor X knows that Logan has amnesia and has no idea of how he came to be who he is. Then we do another few minutes of the meet and greet. Rogue's now a student. She's into Iceman Bobby. Professor X shows...
I like the little skinny white kid with glasses playing basketball and gets chastised for using his powers.
Right, yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
He's like, you see me, right? This is the only way I'm ever going to make a shot.
4 foot skinny white kid with glasses. Can I use some power?
I mean, the other kids are like, I'm going to melt you with nuclear fire. You know, like, I will touch you and melt your skin into cinders. You know?
I'm going to run a betting book on these games. Everyone has
that fucking math kid's going to be a billionaire one
math
day.
kid, the good at math, yeah.
Can't trust those guys.
So Rogue and Iceman.
Yeah, so then Professor X shows Logan the power levels. I think that was supposed to be the lower levels where they do science.
Lower levels.
Bondage.
Yeah. Yeah, I call it Professor X's After Dark school.
Let me show you your uniform.
He's like, have you seen the movie Hostel?
Can I introduce you to my lower levels?
There's a fire down below.
They call me Professor Triple X.
Feeling a little quiggly down under.
Jesus, we said all of them. All right.
Professor.
At that point, we had to.
Professor X tells Logan. Professor X tells Logan that Magneto's after him, and he wants to make a deal with Logan for him to stick around for 48 hours to figure out why Magneto was after him, and he'll help Logan figure out his backstory. Then we cut to Washington. Senator Kelly.
He also says, like, But maybe he's not after Logan, which I love that shit. I love that hedge at the end of this whole, like, they're after you, Logan, and we'll protect you. But maybe they're not after you.
But maybe
and
not.
then it cuts away. Yeah, this shit was hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so in Washington, Senator Kelly, for some reason, gets on a helicopter with the presidential seal.
Yeah, the senator.
Yeah, the senator.
Yeah. And flying over so much open water between D.C. and New York City,
Right.
it takes him a while
To figure out.
Right. Yeah, they're supposed to fly over land as much as possible.
So he makes some speeching to his aide about the mutants. It turns out that that's a bad idea because his aide is secretly Mystique.
Dude looks like a lady.
Dude is literally a shape-shifting lady.
Yep, who can pilot anything. Who can pilot anything.
Yeah. Oh,
and
did you go to school?
With her feet. She'll snap your neck with her feet, man.
Yeah, I love that shit. That's badass. I like picking up things with my toes.
Yeah. So yeah.
So it was a point of fact. It was Toad was up front piloting the chopper.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Toad was piloting the helicopter, and they kidnap him and take him to Magneto's island fortress. But she does pilot the chopper later.
Yes. And something else. But anyway.
Yeah. So meanwhile,
she's smart and sexy.
She's the entire package.
And she'll kick your ass.
And she'll look like whoever you want.
she
I accidentally turned into your mom. I'm sorry.
And then murdered you.
She's the modern girl on the go that wants it all, career and family.
You're gonna make it after all.
So meanwhile,
all right,
Jean Grey does some testing on Wolverine and explains to the professor and the audience about Wolverine's adamantium skeleton and that maybe he's all old. Who knows?
Well, they explain his mutant ability because most people believe that it is the adamantium.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the claws. So I'm glad they did explain that that's not what his mutant ability is.
Yeah, his mutant ability is the healing and the strength, and the reason he was able
He's just good at accessorizing.
Yeah.
We do see in later movies, and as part of the X-Men canon, that the claws are actually part of his mutant ability. They just weren't adamantium when he was born.
Right. Yes. So he had the bone claws that came.
Yeah.
Out. Yes. I guess you're right.
The bone claws.
But it's the healing and the slow metabolism.
Yeah. That's his biggest power is the regeneration.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest power, whatever.
Oh, we all know what his
biggest power.
We know what his biggest power is. Back on
My second business is interior design.
Back on Magneto's island.
His biggest power is his anger.
He's got a beautiful singing voice. Don't forget that.
Yeah, we did mention
he can dance. He really can. Back on Magneto's island, Magneto gets into a machine which shines some rays on the senator. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
This was a weird plot.
Yeah.
Kind of convoluted.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was, but it was very super villainy. So, like, I'm going to make a machine, and it's going to turn the leaders of the world into mutants. But I don't want to die in it, so I'm going to get this other mutant who can suck my powers out to power the machine for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Rogue, those kind of things happen to Rogue, though, in the comics. She's got useful power set for that reason.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not too far out of the realm of, like, comic book writing and stuff, at least.
Yeah.
That's true.
Brief note. This is the only X-Men movie that is not based on any comic storyline. 2 through all the way up to the most recent Dark Phoenix, which just came out last year, are all based on comic storylines.
Yes.
Apart from the underlying Mutant Registration Act thing, that was out of the comics. But
and Stryker and
the tiny machine was not a thing.
No, it was not.
In the comic.
No.
What machine? Cerebro?
Magneto's machine.
Yes.
In this movie was not anywhere in the comics, as far as I can recall.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so back in X-Land, Wolverine flirts with Jean Grey, who we find out is telepathic and telekinetic, but not as strong as Professor X. Then he butts heads with Cyclops, Jean's boyfriend. Then that night, Logan has a nightmare about the experiments done on him, and Rogue tries to wake him up, and oops, he stabs her. She sucks his power.
So was it just coincidence that, did Jean Grey cause that nightmare by probing his mind? Because she got a glimpse of the whole Weapon X process that he was later dreaming about. I wasn't sure if she somehow triggered that nightmare.
I think
that makes sense. I don't know if it was deliberate, but perhaps being exposed to Xavier and Jean Grey and this powerful psychic energy, that maybe it was sort of opening doors.
Yeah,
right.
That totally makes sense
in his mind.
Because they're clearly wandering through his mind.
Right. And he's usually up in Alaska in a bar full of dudes who don't think about anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he walks in, they're both like, ooh, we're going to read your fucking mind. Who are you?
Yeah.
So yes, I think so.
That may have been a deliberate thing, but so this movie did have 45 minutes cut from it, from that were shot. So there's a solid over 2.5 hour cut of this movie that probably has a lot more about that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
So let's see. He stabs Rogue. She sucks his power out and heals herself, leaving him unconscious. A crowd of young mutants hears the commotion and she runs away. Back at Casa de Magneto, Senator Kelly discovers he now has squishy face, mutant powers, and he squeezes through the bars in his cage, dropping to the ocean below, much to Magneto's annoyance. Let's see. The next morning,
it's cute how he Sabretooth can't pull him up, and he drops him, and then comes up with just the jacket. And then Magneto locks him in the cell as he's trying to walk out.
Yeah.
Right.
So a cute moment of his not so subtle annoyance.
Yeah. I noticed
for the bad guys rap.
Yeah. I noticed there was a Sabretooth kind of had a 3-beat of failing Magneto. The first time when he didn't get Wolverine, second time with this, and then the third time when Wolverine kills him, maybe vanquishes him for the time being.
Vanquishes him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we kind of we didn't go over it back when Sabretooth first came in. He had Wolverine's little necklace, dog tag kind of looking thing that he had taken from him, which Magneto takes from him to look at and leaves it on the table. And Sabretooth makes a point to go back and grab it.
Trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trophy kind of thing. And then he's wearing it around his neck later. I was wondering if they were trying to put even when I saw this movie the first time, I was wondering if they were trying to put a deeper connection between Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Right.
Which they
did later, right?
Eventually do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Well, Wolverine was in World War II and in Vietnam. I think we've now seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway.
Okay, so
because Liev Schreiber was Sabretooth, right? Later on.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they served to. Yeah. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Proceed.
All right. So the next morning, the senator comes ashore at a beach to the gawking of the general public at his freakish jelly body. The same thing happens to me sometimes. Rogue
You should have just worn a shirt, a t-shirt in the pool.
Rogue, meanwhile, is approached by Bobby, and she's told everyone's freaked out. She should just leave the school. It turns out Bobby isn't just negging her; he's secretly Mystique.
Nobody likes you.
You're so weird. Why don't you come back to my house? Oh.
Yes, I can make things frozen.
The gang discover that Rogue is gone, and Professor X uses Cerebro, a machine that allows him to use his powers at a great distance, to discover that she's at a train station. Wolverine steals Cyclops' motorcycle to go get her. Meanwhile, At the mansion, Mystique sneaks into Cerebro and puts some green juice in its blue juice container. That is definitely not good.
Don't mix Kool-Aid. It sounds like a good idea, but it's not. You're not going to make a cherry blueberry.
No. It's just going to come out brown.
It's going to suck.
Logan finds Rogue, tells her no one's upset. He talks her into coming back to school, while Cyclops and Storm finally arrive at the train station. But at that moment, they're attacked by Sabretooth and Toad. It's really just a distraction. Magneto can break into the train, disable Wolverine with ease due to his metal skeleton, and kidnap Rogue.
Awesome scene.
Yeah.
That's an awesome scene.
The whole train station sequence was really good. And
that's true all the way through, yeah. That metal... Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, just how Toad licks Cyclops' visor off.
Yeah.
It seems his visor seems to come off really easily.
Really easy, yeah.
He really should have a strap around the back. So that won't happen.
It's harder to get the canister off my vacuum.
Or a helmet.
Like, this is the only thing that's preventing you from destroying a building.
For destroying anyone that you love or are looking at.
Maybe
put some Velcro on it.
Right.
Have a backup pair underneath.
One of those little clasps like on a backpack that like clicks together. Just something.
Whipping off a visor to reveal sunglasses.
Right.
Or
some blue blockers.
What do they call those? The little strap that you put on glasses that hang down in the back? Do you remember what those were called?
I think just a glasses.
I don't know.
Strap.
Glasses. Street.
A horn gobbler. You remember.
So on the way out of the train station, they're met by the cops, who Magneto shows up pretty easily, throwing some cars around. Then
the bullet thing.
Oh god, yeah, the bullet thing. That was
really cool.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that at the time.
Why didn't that guy just back up?
Because he was too busy shitting his pants.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like I'm just gonna move.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the force.
Painful.
Just the bullet.
Just step to the side.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I would like
the bullet goes past and hits the guy behind you.
Push the
push it to the side.
I would just like to point out that in 2020, these cops were ridiculously underarmed for what an actual police force would look like.
Holy shit! Right? Yeah.
2,000 cops were
something happened.
We're different.
They got militarized. Yeah.
That's right. Well, in all fairness, the call came over the radio, and it was like, there's an old guy and a dude named Toad at the train station. So they didn't bring their artillery, you know.
Like, old Toad is harassing people at the train station again. Let's go get him.
Not on my watch.
Take him down to the Hooskow.
Sleep it off, buddy.
I appreciated the attention to detail when Magneto pulls all their guns away. There's the one guy who won't let go of his gun and gets drug on the ground.
Yeah,
it was it was a nice touch.
Yeah,
he was like he's the patriot.
Yeah.
So then Professor X takes control of Sabretooth and Toad to talk to Magneto. Magneto threatens the cops, and Professor X backs down, allowing Magneto to escape with Rogue in a helicopter piloted by Mystique.
Yep.
So back at the mansion, Logan is pissed and ready to go look for Rogue when Senator Kelly arrives. Kelly gets...
Did anybody notice Wolverine's, I don't know, his fascination with layers?
Yes! So he was wearing a minimum of
layers.
4, possibly 5 layers.
His fashion sense, I think, yeah. Okay, so he's got definitely a t-shirt, a flannel, a denim jacket, and then a leather jacket on top. And he probably has a wife beater underneath all that.
Exactly.
Well, if you're used to brawling random dudes in Alaska and the Yukon Territory,
I guess.
Canada,
But you're in New
York, like a windbreaker and some cargo shorts.
I guess, but
and he doesn't
carry
a duffel bag. It's just him.
That's true. You're right. No carry-on luggage.
But this is late spring in New York. He's probably really hot if he's used to the Canadian wilderness.
In Westchester.
Yeah.
Maybe he dropped an interior layer, you know?
Yeah, I'm with Brian. He has to wear everything he owns.
That is true because he is about to take off. He's about to leave the mansion, so that's everything that he owns. He's
going to parts unknown.
All on him.
Okay. So Senator Kelly gets strapped to an examination table because he's not looking so good. Professor X does the mutant mind meld with him to see what Magneto did. They figure out that he plans to use Rogue to power his machine so he won't be killed by it and he can make all the people of the world mutants or something. Senator,
and it was actually Logan who put that final piece together that they were going to use Rogue for that.
Yeah. He's like, I know where Magneto's going. To the top.
the topmost of the potmost,
how many
Johnny.
People could they have? How many could they mutate? Was the plan for that beam to just keep going nationwide?
They were
or
trying
just the people on that island?
Just the world leaders, but also they said they were going to get like hundreds of thousands, like 100,000 people or whatever in New York. There was a number.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what it was.
He was going to mute, at least the island of Manhattan.
Yeah.
All right.
I believe the plan was mostly to mutate the people on Ellis Island, but
on the Liberty Island. Are they on Liberty Island?
Yeah,
or Ellis.
Well, the summit was on Ellis Island.
Yeah,
and Magneto was on Liberty Island, and of course, they would have gotten, they probably would have gotten Staten Island too. But would anyone really have noticed the difference?
Well, the West Coast Avengers were booked for the weekend. They had a wedding out in Barstow. So
Magneto's on Liberty Island. The leaders are on Ellis Island. Jerry Seinfeld's on Long Island.
Jerry's always busy. He's got gigs every weekend. He can't come out for this kind of thing.
It's like, who are these mutants?
Exactly. All right.
So it was either Jean Grey or Storm who said if Rogue takes enough power, then it could blow all the way to Manhattan.
Yeah.
Holy cow. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Some unexpected blowback.
Yeah. Okay. So, Senator Kelly dies. He blobs out, and Professor X decides to use Cerebro to find Magneto. But the green.
But does he, though? Does he die?
Senator Kelly?
Who die?
Senator Kelly?
Magneto later says to
Storm,
Aurora Monroe, did he die? Are you sure? She's like, yeah, Doc, of course.
Yeah, he did say that.
And he's like, I'm not sure.
Well, he's like, did you see what
yeah, are you sure you saw what you saw?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's just water now.
Yeah,
he's Waterman.
Yeah, but, that's just because he's playing up Mystique as Senator Kelly. He's priming the pumps.
That's true. You're right. Setting that up.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's in like People's Lemonade and shit. He could be everywhere.
He's part of all of us now.
We're all 25%.
They say a man dies two deaths. The last time when his name is spoken. Anyway. Yeah. So Professor X uses Cerebro to find Magneto, but the green juice is bad for his professor head, and he ends up in a coma. So then Jean Grey fixes the machine, uses it to find out Magneto is going to be on the Statue of Liberty, and and figures out the whole plan. Then Magneto doesn't know, though, that the ray's unstable, and all the world leaders will shortly die after becoming mutants.
Or they'll become water people or something.
Yeah, under the sea. Under the sea.
Maybe there's
they'll become mermaids.
Magneto's not
this water.
published. I mean,
right.
Again, Xavier had a vision. Yeah, we don't know.
All the main elements. Water, magnets, toads. Everything is made of.
Golems.
Wait, this is Ellis Island is right next to New York. They're all going to become like rat people.
That's true. They'll get typhoid.
Yeah. Okay, so Magneto and crew arrive. And set up. He monologues a little to Rogue, and the X-Men suit up and take their X-plane to Liberty Island. For some reason, they land at the bottom of the statue and decide to fight their way up instead of going to the top in their plane.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I have climbed, and it's not that tall. It's not so bad, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Why would you go through the spiral staircase?
If they took it up to the top, they'd have to drop off 3 people, and then someone would have to pilot it down to the bottom and walk up anyway. So stick together.
But
right.
haste.
You're right. It's implausible.
Haste, and then you have Storm fly herself up there or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like Siskel or Ebert right now. I'm like, that's how
Or Roper.
Or Roper in particular.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mystique.
And they do that weird landing in the water.
Yeah. Which I think was supposed to just be a joke, I guess.
Yeah, just a laugh.
Now it's known as the Sully. But yeah.
Was it Launchpad McQuack who said any landing you can walk away from is a good landing?
Yes.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure.
No, I believe he said this day will live in infamy. That was Launchpad.
Launchpad gave a lot of speeches in this day.
Yeah,
he did.
His beer hall pooch was especially.
Today is a good day to crash.
That's true. I love Launchpad. Anyway,
I will crash no more forever. So
cheap joke.
So they go inside the statue. Mystique turns into Wolverine and they fight, leaving her apparently dead. Storm takes out Toad with that wicked one-liner. They eventually fight their way up to the top. I passed over a lot there. Anyone want to? Okay.
Well, there was a gift shop. I don't know. Yeah. Mystique was the statue, which is cute.
The metal detector thing was a cute moment.
Yeah, that was a cute.
Wolverine sets off the metal detector and then gives Scott the middle claw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Middle claw. It's awesome.
Okay, so up at top, Magneto captures them all and imprisons them in the statue's head, then transfers his power to Rogue and starts up the machine. Wolverine frees himself and fights Sabretooth on top of the head of the Statue of Liberty, throwing him off to his death.
Even cutting off one of the spires.
Yeah.
Of her crown.
Yeah, I hope if we ever go, I'm going to watch now, because if we ever see New York in a later movie, I want to see if that's on there still.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Logan frees the others, and they have to learn to work together to get him up to the top of the machine, where the ray is about to hit all the world leaders. He struggles with Magneto. Cyclops shoots Magneto while Logan destroys the machine.
Mm-hmm.
So then Logan gives the life hug to Rogue.
Yeah, that was intense, and their cheeks were right pressed up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how death metal fans orgasm, I bet. Just smashed up, screaming, their veins showing. But honestly, it was very dramatic. I think that's how Titanic should have ended, if you ask me.
Jack's life force just passing into Rose before he sinks into the ocean?
No, yeah, Logan and Rogue.
Just
I don't
screaming.
care if they don't explain him at all and they just show up at the end of Titanic.
Standing on that door.
Logan fights the iceberg.
With plenty of room. the nice sized door.
There was so much room. He only tried to get on it once. He was in the ocean for hours.
She's like, I like to sleep splayed out like an ex.
Anyway.
All right, so yeah, he heals Rogue.
Yeah, she has her now iconic white streak in her hair. He collapses, but Rogue is saved.
Mm-hmm.
And all his wounds open up.
Yeah,
Like
his
the
old
slashes
wounds.
on his face and where he stabbed himself in the shoulders.
Yep.
His circumcision comes back.
I had a circumcision joke coming in 2 minutes. No, I swear to God. I swear to God. All right. But yeah, his wounds start to show. That's
that was a cool visual. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So then we discover that Mystique is alive. The professor wakes up, and Logan recovers back at X Mansion.
So my joke was that when he wakes up and Jean Grey's there, I was going to ever say that she circumcised him while he was under.
Oh, God.
But you said it before. So weird. That's so weird.
But it would just regenerate.
Just keep growing back. She's like,
she's just been doing it all afternoon. She's like, it's science. I'm just
It's like
this experiment.
We made a game night of it, to be honest.
No, because she's going to keep doing it and then sew them all together to create a regenerative parachute of foreskin.
Well, you beat me again, sir. Both your jokes were better.
Wow.
But yeah, Mystique's in politics.
Yeah. Yeah, she's become elected to the Senate.
He's got to go through all that bullshit.
The honorable lady from Magneto Island.
Do you yield the floor, ma'am?
I do not.
She snaps him with her feet. You just killed Lindsey Graham with your feet.
She has to learn how to write confusing bills.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
She has a big poster board of a tweet printed out.
She comes in with a snowball.
Yeah. To prove climate change is real. It's like, wow, she has a lot of pet projects. I thought the mutant thing really was her.
She's like,
well, yeah, I imagine a mutant in Congress would be like Sheriff Bart. You know, they are dumb.
Right.
Okay, so
catching writer the bills. All right, go ahead.
When they're back to full strength, the professor tells Logan about an abandoned military compound near where they found him. He's going to go there and try to discover his origins.
Alkali.
What's that?
Alkali Lake.
Yes, Alkali Lake. Yes. He's going to go there and try to
Canadian Rockies.
Yes. And try to discover his origins. His X-Men origins.
Oh, that hurts me.
He says goodbye to Rogue. And then Logan leaves, taking Cyclops' motorcycle.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
We'll note to end that up.
Yeah, totally. Professor X plays chess with Magneto in his underground cell, which is made of plastic. They banter and discuss.
Also cool.
Yeah.
First time we saw that. That was cool.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Like before that, all I can think of is Silence of the Lambs, as far as like badass prison, like keeping madmen.
Oh God, yeah, totally.
This was a cool one. But they let Charles visit.
And the chess game too. The chess game is really neat. All the plastic pieces.
And he has a completely.
Go ahead, Thoreau.
I was gonna say, and Professor X has a completely plastic wheelchair.
Yes.
Yeah.
The guards have powers, but Magneto's still a fully functioning. Never mind. You just kick him in the face.
Oh, he's an old man now, but he doesn't have terrifying mutant powers.
It was cool. It wasn't exactly a cliffhanger, but it was like, we'll be back. There's more to this story.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, they definitely teased a sequel in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the first successful sequel set for sure.
I always wondered if Sabretooth was going to come back and Toad also, because they weren't necessarily killed. Toad was just zapped out of the movie by that lightning.
Right.
And Sabretooth is so durable, they could have brought him back in some capacity. I don't think they ever did.
They never did.
Well, until
the
X-Men
separate
Origins.
Wolverine movies. Yeah.
Durable, rugged, durable. The Ford Sabretooth.
The Ford Sabretooth. Yeah. I agree, though. He could have come back for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's nobody that was like really completely zapped out of the movie. Toad's the closest.
Yeah.
But yeah, nobody was completely written off.
Right.
And everybody had the potential to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, so I mean that's the end. That was good. It was very much like it set a template, like we were saying before, for a lot that was to come.
Yeah.
I was saying before, I highly anticipated this movie, and like you were just about to say, Josh, I was not disappointed by what they delivered.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun. I saw it a couple times, I'm sure, in the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rewatching it post Endgame, it still it holds up as like this is the beginning of everything, and it looks good and is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, it was the first time I except for, like I said, Batman '89, maybe here and there, like you said, Blade, but that wasn't as comic-y. But it was the first time I came out of a comic book movie feeling like they didn't think I was 10 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it was cheesy, in its moments, it took it seriously, and I appreciated it. Yeah.
It had its quippiness sprinkled throughout, not I don't know, like Batman and Robin, where you just pour too much salad dressing on your salad.
Yeah, great way to put it.
Yeah, Sal.
Yeah, where the yucks are just insulting. Like, I wish you'd said nothing instead of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was at the end, right before they do the teamwork thing, they're up in the Lady Liberty's head. Wolverine gets to use his famous.
Yes, I knew you were.
Bub.
Where he calls people Bub. He says, "Hey, Bub, I'm not finished with you yet."
Yeah.
Hey, but
Bub.
they snuck in the Bub for the comic book fans.
Yeah.
Right.
Was great. I appreciate it.
And they really they developed Wolverine and Cyclops' relationship, anticipating future movies with Jean Grey as being the thing that gets between them, obviously.
But with the motorcycle thing, like it also showed how sort of playful it maintained, because there was never a scene where they fought each other or got like super aggro, but like totally he took his motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
Well, and we got the like when Mystique made herself look like Wolverine. Prove to me that you're Logan. You're a dick. Like, okay, duh.
Yeah.
She wouldn't know you're such a dick.
Yeah.
And he thanks and Cyclops thanks him for saving him. I was like, oh shit, those are two moments that I never really paid attention to in their storyline, in the overarching bullshit X-Men storyline that we
They cared about dynamics
years and years, which was neat to see.
I really feel like and this is anecdotally been kind of confirmed, that a lot of what Joss Whedon did was rewrite the dynamics between the X-Men characters, specifically Cyclops and Logan.
It's important because you have Jean Grey and Cyclops and Wolverine, you kind of have to do and standing around in a room together. That's what they do every time they stand. Wolverine sneaks off with what's his face's girl.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's how you do an ensemble, instead of just Marky Mark and then the Funky Bunch are standing off to the right and nobody's saying anything.
Mopping the deck, dancing.
Mopping the deck. Yo ho ho, the perfect storm.
Like, look at that storm. It looks perfect to me. Are you sure there's no flaws to that storm at all?
Not a one.
So I don't want to make a bunch of comparisons to the first ensemble movie that we did, but it's interesting to see this movie immediately after Mystery Men.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Because Mystery Men did this so well too.
It did.
It did, but in a very different way. Although, because there was
gave me a lot of the same feelings, but it wasn't a franchised. You know what I mean? Like they did it perfectly, but they were not characters I grew up.
Yeah.
But you're right. Right after
this. Yeah.
So I think I read that there was a significant degree of delay with this movie, with the release of this movie.
Uh-huh.
So it potentially should have come out before Mystery Men.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to wonder.
I don't know how long the delay was, but
you have to wonder if Mystery Men would have been more popular.
Yeah.
You know what would be so rad is, you know how they do those crossovers or like versus, but like Wolverine versus Mr. Furious, just a one-off.
That would be
of them just smashing things to pieces.
That world is not that far away.
No, hell no. Champion City. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, X-Men, good movie.
Definitely.
I liked it.
Definitely. And I think that brings us to the rankings. So, I'm thinking it's a top 10er, guys. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, it's definitely a top 10er.
I have a hard time arguing that it's not top 3.
Yeah, I was kind of looking up in that area.
Like, if not better than Batman '89 on a rewatch as a movie.
It does kickstart the whole reason we do this podcast. So
yeah. I kept thinking this may be number 1. Like watching it, especially the second time, I was like, "Fuck!" There's so many things that they do well.
I recognize Senator Mystique from the great state of Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Talk me down.
I'm definitely talking top 3 myself. If not, maybe number 1. Al, what are your thoughts?
That's tough. I was gonna stick it somewhere around Batman Returns. I don't know if I wanted to put it. I think I want to put it above Batman Returns at least. I wouldn't put it any lower than number 3 now that I think about it.
So, okay. So the question is, are we looking at 1, 2, or 3 for it?
Is it better than
1 or 2?
Is it better
I
than
think it's
Superman?
better than Superman.
It kind of is.
I think it's a better movie than Superman.
Directly compared, it's better, yeah.
And without question. Whether it's more influential, maybe at this point it is. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have said it was, but now it may be.
Superman is a fantastic film. It's a film. It can be appreciated solely on that level.
That's true.
We're talking superheroes and comic books. That's what we do. I say it's better than Superman. So 2 or 1.
I can. Yeah.
And Batman '89 is one of my favorite movies of all time. But this one kickstarted it, got things going.
Batman '89 is I have a personal relationship with, but X-Men, I think Batman '89 is a weird thing. It's a weird movie that does its weird thing.
It's a Tim Burton movie. Yeah. It's more Tim Burton
phenomenon. That's true. So how about 2? How about number 2?
I can live with 2. Al?
I can live with 2.
I can.
Yeah.
All right. We'll agree.
Yes.
We'll put it at number.
Notarize it.
I'll put it on at number 2. Superman has been first time since '89. There's a movie better than Superman.
The only movie.
The better comic book movie.
Yeah.
This was really tight and well done. Yeah.
So
looks great.
Superman did not really do a lot to pay off fans as compared to this. So anyways.
Yeah.
All right.
It did make me believe a man could fly.
Absolutely, it's beautiful.
Well, it did, and you know what, Superman.
That was a great movie to look at.
Superman, but I mean, at this point, X-Men has 20 years of films following it up in the same universe, which is just amazing.
Good point. All right. Good show.
Yeah, so that's X-Men, which means next week we are going to watch Unbreakable by M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan.
Let's talk about that asshole. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you know what? He may be an asshole, but he hasn't been Me Too'd. As far as I can tell, he's at least got that going for him.
Well, I love the new standard we have going.
We can.
He's a total asshole, but he never assaulted anyone.
He hasn't sexually assaulted anyone, so we can speak about his career in depth.
All right, fair enough. I agree with those terms.
So we got that. That's next week on Harmless Phosphorescence. We watch Unbreakable. So in the meantime, and
for patrons, we'll be watching G.I. Joe.
Yes, indeed.
The Rise of Cobra.
That's right. The Rise of Cobra, G.I. Joe from 2009. $1. That's all you need. $1 a month, and you get to listen to the monthly movie.
Yeah.
So
aren't they on the Eiffel Tower? Don't they fight on the Eiffel Tower in that movie?
I have this.
Yeah, right.
I'm coming in so cold on that. I have no idea what that movie is about. I know nothing.
I'm going to bust out all my G.I. Joe toys. I'm going to have them play with them while we're talking. It'll be great.
Awesome.
I'm just kidding. I don't have any G.I. Joes. I'm a grown man.
My biggest memory of this movie is I think Cobra Commander's real name is Toby.
Is it Toby Cobra?
His real name, Toby Cobra. Again, what else could he do? Toby Cobra.
We'll find out in a week or so whether I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah. So.
All right, folks.
All right. So, anyways, this has been Thoreau Smiley and his adamantium testicles. I was joined by.
I'm Josh Cece, and I'm an associate of Sabretooth.
I'm Brian Lesh, and next week I'll be wearing my yellow leather jumpsuit.
I'm Alaric Weber, and you owe me a scream.
Woo! All right. All right.
So long.
Bye, everybody. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Harmless Phosphorescence was brought to you by executive producers Atticus Burkett and Michael Beckwith, and producers Alyssa Dent, Hedda Paulson, and Jojo Birchtree. Harmless Phosphorescence is a production of the Harmless Entertainment Network.